partly cloudy with a slight chance of rain through tomorrow. High today around 85, low tonight 55, right now 76. Count 'em.
In the spring of 2006, ex-DJ Stephen B. Williams was ready, eager. Any day now, he'd be setting off to sail around the world. And then suddenly, without saying a word to any of his lifelong friends, he vanished.
I was word sick, and we were all kind of having the same angst that he had just dropped off the radar completely.
His friends called each other, compared notes. No one had seen Stephen for weeks.
So I called Harvey, and I said, hey, Harvey, we're all really concerned about Stephen. Have you seen him? And he's all, well, he's over in Hawaii. He went to Hawaii.
Now that was strange, because Harvey told another friend Stephen went to Mexico. What'd you think?
I thought, well, Stephen wouldn't go into Mexico at gunpoint. I mean, it was completely out of character for him.
Then Harvey's friend Greg, the stainless steel guy, said he noticed something strange about Stephen's usually cluttered cabin.
It was completely sterile, just nothing in it, not one loose object.
It was as if Stephen had never set foot in here. And then those boaters made their shocking discovery. Stephen face down in the ocean, a bullet in his head.
What was it like to get that news?
Oh, it was awful. I felt like I was in some made-for-TV movie. It's like, this can't be happening. None of us could believe it was happening.
Detectives Ken Clark and Robert Martindale wanted to have a look at Harvey Morrow's boat, Stephen's last known residence, and they wanted to talk to Harvey. They got a search warrant, brought a whole team to the harbor, seized the yacht.
When you first walked in, was it clean?
Absolutely clean. Clean enough for you, and these are my words, eat off the floor.
Pristine, in fact. And for all the diligent efforts of the forensic people, there was no sign of Stephen B.'s existence, no evidence he'd ever set foot on that yacht. They did find some high-tech navigational equipment, which they hoped would tell them where the boat had been, but when the expert analyzed it,
he said it was never connected, it was never turned on.
There was a manual for a handheld Garmin GPS, but only the manual.
We went and we searched and we searched and we searched, and we just didn't find the GPS.
Nor did they find Harvey Morrow. He seemed to have disappeared. And that's when they started digging into Harvey's background. Just who was he, anyway?
Some said he was as wealthy as $12 million and more.
Though when detectives talked to the neighbors here at the yacht club, at least one of them wasn't quite so sure that Harvey was for real.
She says, me and my husband, we have money, we live on our yacht. I knew when I saw Harvey that he was full of it, because no one dresses like Gilligan and the skipper when living on a yacht. And yeah, Harvey always showed up. These are her words. He showed up in costume.
And Harvey's employment history? Turned out it was not quite as gold-plated as Harvey had been letting on, as the detectives discovered.
I think everything Harvey's been involved with throughout his career in banking or stockbroking has gone belly up. Everything he's involved in seems to have some type of fraud involved, one con after the next. I don't think he's ever actually had a bona fide job where he's been there for a period of time.
Which led to an obvious question. What kind of job had Harvey been doing managing Stephen's inheritance? Sylvia Nolan remembered shortly before Stephen vanished, somebody broke into the trunk of his car where he kept all his personal paperwork, his passport, his trust documents, all stolen.
And I said, well, please tell me that the document between you and Harvey, wasn't in there. And he goes, what document? And I said, well, for him investing your $2 million. I said, you have something documented, right? And he goes, no. And I said, you gave some man you just met a couple years ago $2 million and you got nothing in writing?
She told the detectives, of course. And they took a good look at Harvey's boat and soon learned something that probably should have been obvious all along. That fancy dolled-up tub with its pricey power winches, its expensive electronics, its polished teak washer-dryer fireplace was paid for, practically every dollar, by the unwitting Stephen B. That answer turned up in meticulous detail in Harvey's own ship's ledger.
He put, according to his own ledgers, $1.7 million to that yacht. Mm-hmm. So almost the whole amount he took from Stephen went right back into that yacht.
No wonder, said Stephen's friend Sylvia. No wonder the last time they went out to lunch, she had to pick up the check.
He was so embarrassed, and I said, how could this be? I mean, you're a multimillionaire, and you don't have any money. And he said, well, Harvey's got it all tied up in these offshore accounts.
The detectives discovered Harvey Morrow had put Stephen's inheritance money to an offshore bank account in the British Virgin Islands, just as he said he would. But then he secretly brought it back to the U.S. in small increments and used the money to refurbish the boat. Harvey just sucked up all that money.
All of it.
Stephen, by his own admission, a lousy money manager, trusting, vulnerable after the death of his father, was, said detectives, the perfect mark.
Stephen was no match for this man at all.
Nor, apparently, was his wife, Debbie.
I was really very much in love with Harvey.
But as she now began to discover, the man she loved had lied. A house in Vail, Colorado, which he told her he owned outright, actually belonged to someone else. The money she sent him when she went back to work vanished. The auto insurance he told her he bought for her didn't exist. And what he said was a $25,000 diamond ring he slipped on her finger when he proposed? A fake.
It's cubic zirconium.
Just who was that man she married and believed she loved?
I don't think Harvey even liked me. You know, love is not only blind. In my instance, it's also deaf and dumb.
But devastating as those lies were, Debbie couldn't bring herself to believe Harvey could kill.
I never once thought it would be Harvey that would have hurt Stephen.
And in fact, there was nothing definitive tying Harvey to Stephen's murder. No sign of any violent struggle, not a drop of Stephen's blood anywhere on the ship. If only the detectives could talk to Harvey. It turned out they'd just missed him. An employee of the yacht club told investigators Harvey was standing nearby in plain sight, observing as the cops scoured his boat. But by the time they heard that, Harvey was long gone.
From friends and knowing his past, there was some speculation that he would go south, and he had some dealings in Belize before, and we believe that's possibly where he's heading.
So they put out feelers. Belize, the Virgin Islands, Harvey's old haunts down there. But the trail went cold. Stephen's murder, apparently unsolvable.
When we come back, a mysterious stranger surfaces hundreds of miles away.
The more he would talk, the more intrigued I became.
Could he hold the key to the case?
Did you ever get any money from Stephen and put it in your account?
When Who Killed the Radio Star continues.